going to pair them up with Frost poems and with some of my translations. And along the way, Mark wanted me to say a few things about the classics, particularly the Greek classics, since David so beautifully covered the Latin. I'm going to start off with a famous Frost poem about looking into a well. And it's a beautiful image for poetry, and it's a beautifully classical image, because we all know the myth of Narcissus, who fell in love with his own image. And poetry, is intensely self-reflective, and in its self-reflective nature, it can become self-absorbed. And so there's always that trap. But sometimes, too, I think, and particularly with a form, using a difficult form, a writer can see something in himself or herself that they didn't know was there, maybe a surprise. And that's, I think, particularly true of Frost's poem, which begins, each line begins with a trochaic, so the stress is on the first syllable. So you're already leaning into the line as Frost is leaning down, looking into the well. The poem is For Once, Then Something. Others taunt me with having knelt at well curbs, always wrong to the light, so never seeing deeper down in the well than where the water gives me back in a shining surface picture, me myself in the summer heaven, godlike, looking out of a wreath of fern and cloud puffs. Once, when trying with chin against a well curb, I discerned, as I thought, beyond the picture, through the picture, a something white, uncertain, something more of the depth, and then I lost it. Water came to rebuke the too clear water. One drop fell from a fern, and lo, a ripple chunk whatever it was, shook wherever it was, lay there at bottom, blurred it, blotted it out. What was that whiteness? Truth, a pebble of quartz, for once, then something. I want to pair that with a poem of my own, which is about poetry and looking into a well. It's called Origins. Behind the words, there is a poem. Behind the poem, there is a voice. Behind the voice, there is a breath. Behind the breath, there must be silence. Behind the silence is where the voice that speaks the poem is coming from. Inside the thirst, there is a well. Inside the well, there is no light. Inside the dark, there is an echo. Inside the echo, there must be longing. Inside the longing is where the water no bucket can hold is coming from.